my movements, as some have no sound, or so far no sound. So let's just stand with the legs wide. Roll the shoulders back and really press your shoulder blades down. So you're going to feel a tilt in the chest. So I'll show you from the side. So your legs are strong. Roll the shoulders back and feel that tilt, that tightening into your chest. Not necessarily pushing the hips forward. So you want to keep this in a straight line. So rolling back, opening the chest. Inhaling, rolling back, opening the chest. So your shoulder blades are glued to each other. Your head stays straight. So don't compensate with your head. Your head stays straight. So from here, interlace your hands in the back. Lengthen the arms. If you can bring the palms together, go for it. So lengthen out the arms and continue that same movement. So rolling the shoulders back, shoulder blades together, strong legs lifting up. And now gently start to look at the ceiling. Don't go too far. So very gently opening up, opening the front of your neck, pulling your arms down, and then coming back, straight neck. And then from here, keeping your hands where they are, long arms, starting to bend forward from your hip crease. So only go as far as your hamstrings allow. No sensation in the lower back. We want to give a gentle tilt into the hips. Lengthening the arms, lengthening the neck. Inhaling, maybe going a little bit deeper. And now you can gently bend your knees, so just a micro bending to the knees. Start to fold forward, lifting the arms up if it's accessible. Otherwise, you just keep them close to your tailbone. Lifting up, dropping your head, and see where your arms are going to reach. So watch out that your shoulders don't fall forward. That's just super, a lot of weight. So roll the shoulders back, lift your arms away, your hands away from your shoulders, but drop your head, relax your spine, holding into the legs. And then release your hands, let them drop down, place your hands down, and let the head drop a little bit more now. Let your shoulders drop forward. You can cross your arms, hold on to the opposite elbow. Inhale, exhale. And then bend your knees. Start to come into a seated. So it's a wide-legged seated position. Place your hands onto your thighs. Roll the shoulders back. Lengthen the spine. And push yourself up. Keep the feet as wide as they were. We're just going to loosen in the spine. So turn to the right, lift your left heel. And then turn to the left, lift your right heel. And now let your arms just be very loose, moving from side to side. And then coming back to center. Bring the legs a little bit closer, really just a little bit. And we're going to do some breathing. And breathing and release. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, and then 4 is going down. So we're really going to drop forward. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One more time. 1, 2, 3. And stay down and release.
You don't need a picture, just listen.
Well, what do you want me to do?
We don't want
Hold on. So release there. I see everybody's very busy. So release. Drop your head. Grab the opposite elbows again. And this time swing from side to side, but stay very light into your feet, so that you don't block your knees between the heels and the hips. Loosen your head, say yes, say no. And then coming back to center. Bend your knees a little bit more. Place your hands down. Come onto your tippy toes and bring the heels a little bit closer to each other. And then gently coming down. So opening in the hips, froggy pose. So make sure your knees and your toes are aligned. Bring the palms together and start to open into the hips. So I realize this is the beginning of the practice and this might be a lot to begin with. So just go where you are in this moment. Inhale, exhale. And then place your hands down again. Come back onto your tippy toes. And now just swing from side to side. So you're going to lift one knee, coming higher onto the toes, and then moving to the other side. So just swing a little bit in the hips. And then coming back. Bring your hands a little bit more to the front. Tippy toes, heels behind the toes, and then come onto your knees. So we're going to come straight up onto our knees. We're going to do some side bending here. Bring the left foot out. So make sure that your heel and your hips are in one line. So this can be enough for you. It really depends on how your hips are built. Bring your left hand onto your left thigh so the leg is straight. Reach your right arm up. And then slowly go over. So we're not going as far as when we're standing. There is this hip joint that's in the way now. So inhale, lengthen. And exhale, go a little bit further. Inhale, keep that arm straight. Opening up in the armpit. And then turn the palm out. Bring the right hand all the way down. As you come down, adjust so that your wrist is underneath your shoulder. Press your hips forward. Lift your left leg. So you can come onto your fingertips here or flat onto the hand. I like to be on the fingertip. And I'm going to press my hips forward and then reach my left arm up. So if lifting the left leg is too much, just keep the toes onto the floor. Don't lean all the way. So we really want to feel something happening in the outer left hip. And if you go all the way back, then you're basically working more your quads on both sides, but we really want to feel that working in the hip stabilizers. And then bring the left knee next to the right and come back up. Bring the right leg out. So I like to have my foot on the mat so I don't slip. And then see if you can bring your toes to the front. So toes to the side is going to give a different movement into the hips. So we really want to, for now, keep the toes to the side, to the front. And then glide your right hand onto your right leg. Lift your left arm up. Take a breath in so you can find length. And then opening towards the right. So we're opening the left side by bringing our left arm towards the right. Make sure you're breathing. Make sure your armpit is open. Go with your breath. And then slowly bring the left hand down. So the reason you want to have the wrists under the shoulder is so your bones are stacked onto each other and then there is less muscle. So it's more bone to bone. Press your hips forward, lift your leg up. So if that's accessible, you're going to lift your leg up, you flex your foot, you press your hips forward, and then you reach your right arm up. Two more breaths here. Maybe lift a little bit higher. Watch out not to press the hips back. So continue to focus on the whole posture. And then bring the right knee next to the left. And straight up. Tuck your toes. Make sure the little toe is also pointing forward. Place your hands onto your bum. So your fingers are pointing down. Roll the shoulders back, elbows back, open the chest. Lift your chest up, push your tailbone down. So that's the first movement. And then very gently start to bend from the upper spine, the middle spine, and in the lower back. So you don't want to compress too much in the lower back. Press your hips forward, tailbone goes down. If you want to go a little bit further, you can bring your hands lower, if that works for you, or eventually you can bring your hands onto your heels, but keep the hips on top of your knees. And keep on breathing. So if your breath stops here, back off a little bit. And then release, coming back up, untuck your toes, and come and sit onto your heels. If your knees are hurting, put something behind your knees, between your calf muscles and your thighs, so that there's not so much compression into your knees. Take a breath in, and a breath out. Bring the hands to the front of the mat, the knees a little bit into the back, and just start to make circles with your hips. So coming quite forward and to the side. Be gentle with your knees. So if you know you have knee problems, I would suggest to put a blanket under your knees. Maybe you want to start to round and curve the spine a little bit, like loosening the neck. It's free choreography here. Change direction. So losing a little bit in all the joints of the body except the ankles now. Moving the head and then coming back to center. Hands at the front, tuck your toes, and let's come into our plank. So press your heels away, shoulders above the wrist, press into your hands. We're aiming to bring the upper part of your spine higher up. Tailbone goes towards the toes, towards the heels. And then from here, just gently bend your knees, so hover above the floor. Press into your hands, press yourself back. Start to lift your hips up. Keep your knees bent. Lift your hips. So keep the knees bent for now. We're going to roll the shoulders out. So the eye of the elbow comes a little bit more to the sky, but you continue pressing the thumb and the index into the floor. Lift your hips up. And then exhale. Maybe you're going to lengthen your legs. So if you feel that your pubic bone is coming towards your navel, you want to keep your knees bent. It means your hamstrings are not ready for that big stretch, and your lower back is a compensation, and we don't want that. We want the lower back to remain strong, not necessarily to start to flex in all directions. And then gently walk your dog. You can walk your dog a lot of times, long walks. And push into your hands, come into your full expression of your downward dog. Let's lift the right leg up and bring the right foot on the outside of the right hand. So we're gonna really bring it outside. You can move your right hand a little bit more to the center and then drop your left knee down. So long leg in the back. Your front knee is on top of your front heel and it's pointing towards the toes. Roll the shoulders back, lengthen your spine. And then gently start to let go into your elbows. So we're gonna go down, but it's not a rounding of the spine. So you don't lose that length into your spine. You're just slowly going down. Eventually, you can use a block. I'm just gonna turn so you can see. So you can use a block to come a little bit lower. You can bring your forearms on a block. Eventually, maybe your forearms will be on the floor. So feel the opening in the legs. Feel the length into the spine. Never forget the neck is part of your spine. So unless we do anything special with the neck, it should be from your tailbone to your skull, a nice fluid natural line. If you want to go a little bit further here, you can tuck your toes, lift your knee. And then maybe you can sink in a little bit deeper. And then press into your hands, come all the way up. Walk your right foot to the center. If your knee's on the floor, you can keep it there. If your knee's off the floor, you can keep it there. Left wrist underneath the left shoulder, and then from your tailbone, start to open up towards the right. So rotation around the spine, reach your right arm up, press your back heel back. If your knee is down, that's okay. You're gonna still have the same rotation. Strong supporting arm, you can look up at your right hand. And then slowly bring the hand down on the outside of the right foot and come back into your downward dog. And now you probably want to dance or walk a little bit. And then come again into your full expression of your downward dog, maybe observing differences one side to the other. Lift your left leg up. Bring the left foot on the outside of your left hand. Move your hand over a little bit. You can stay up or come down. Let's start with the knee down so that you can align your knee, your ankle, and your foot. Roll the shoulders back. You can untuck your back toe if your knee's down, and then lengthen the spine. And then just by the bend into your elbows, so not by the rounding of the spine, just a bend into your elbows, and your elbows are going back so that your shoulders and your chest remains nice and open. We're going to go a little bit deeper. If you want to go further, tuck your toes, lift your knee. So you want to have a straight leg here, not half bent and hovering, really pushing back so you get a little bit more stretched around the hips. Three more breaths here. And press into your hands so you can stay with the knee lifted to drop the knee. Bring your right wrist underneath your right shoulder and make sure you're not stuck by your left leg. So possibly you can place a block under your hand. And then first of all, your spine needs to be long, and then you can start to rotate. Imagine that you're really twisting around your spine, opening up, reaching up. Press your back heel back. Strong supporting arm. Are you holding anywhere? Like more than just strength into the muscles? Is there a place where there is maybe that you're like, oh no, I can't go further. So you're tensing so much that there's a lot of shaking happening. See if you can maybe adjust the pose or release a little bit. There's a difference between the two. And then coming back, this time left hand on the outside of your left foot and move back into your downward facing dog. Just for a moment, do what your body feels like doing. You should always do that, but I mean, no specific pose. And then come onto your knees. Bring your arms back, come into child's pose, and shake out your wrists. Bring your forehead down or on a block or on a pillow. And then make sure your knees are quite close to each other. Bring your hands around your feet. So your fingers are pointing to the inside of your foot. Your thumb is on the outside. And then you're going to start to round your spine and place your head on the floor as close as possible. So eventually the crown of the head will be on the floor. We're going to start to press our hips up, hold onto your feet, rounding the spine. So we're really opening that upper back. Very round into the spine. It's rare that we do this stretch. We're very often rounded, but with a lot of tension. Now we're really just stretching. And then release. And come back up and stay here. If you're dizzy, place the heel of the hand, the lower part, in between your eyebrows and press on that pressure point. Some people say that if you put a finger underneath your nose, like where there's a split of your lip, that also helps. For me, I know this works. So take a breath in and a breath out. We're gonna sit onto our left side and bring the right leg over the left leg. So your left knee is pointing very much towards the front. Move your left foot a little bit more out, but make sure you keep the 90 degrees with the leg. And then you're gonna hold on to your right leg and bring it a little bit closer. And then if you can, lower the right knee towards the left knee. So the knees should be on top of each other. This is quite a difficult pose. It's cow face, and it's a big stretch in the hips. So if your knees are hurting, lengthen one leg, just do it with one leg. So from here, so your feet are really pointing out here. You want to have a straight body. If you are too tense into your upper body because this is hurting, please just lengthen one leg and just stay here. This is going to give a gentle stretch, but we'll explore the other side. So no pain in the knee. Feet flex with your leg to protect the knee. And it's possible your both knees are on top of each other if you're flexible in the hips. So inhale. If you want to go a little bit further from the hip crease, start to fold forward. So you can place your hands down, you can keep your hands on your feet. Just don't collapse into the pose. Stay seated, so we're not lifting the bum. We just want to go a little bit further with that stretch into the hips. And as you're doing this and you feel that your breath becomes very short and very broken, probably you went a little bit too far. So the breath is a great indicator, great speaker of the body, also of the mind, but the focus is now much more on the body. So let's stay here for 2 more breaths. And then slowly coming back up. Place your hands in the back, undo your legs, and then bring the left foot, the right knee down and the right foot out. So again, position your right knee so that it's more or less in the center of your body. Bring the left leg over, sorry, I'm confusing you. And then walk your left foot as much as you can towards the right so that your both knees are on top of each other. This side is much more difficult for me. So you want to make sure that you're seated onto your 2 cheeks here and no issues in the knee. So if you have knee issues, just do one leg at a time. Find your position, find some comfort. Maybe a little bit of discomfort, but absolutely no pain. So this is a very big stretch for the hips. If you have sciatica problems, this is very good. It's creating some space for the sciatic nerve, which the pain most of the time is from a pinch somewhere, often pinched into the psoas, which is much too tight. We're just loosening up there a little bit. And again, if you want to go further, you can start to lean forward. Don't come off your seat, stay in your seat. Just leaning forward to find a little bit more stretch here. And then slowly coming back up. Release your legs, lengthen out. Separate the legs, place the hands just in the back and release. So bring the feet back together, come back onto tabletop, hands in the front, knees in the back, tuck your toes, and come into downward dog. So eventually downward dog is going to feel like coming home when you do all these other poses. And it's one of the best poses. It's really very energizing. It's also relaxing because it's an inversion. So it's calming for the nervous system. It's quite a lot of strength and quite a lot of stretch. So as you inhale, press into your hands. Feel the energy coming up from your hands towards your hips. So roll the shoulders out, long spine. And as you exhale, feel the energy moving from your hips all the way down towards your heels. 2 more breaths here. And then slowly walk your feet towards your hands. And exhale, fold forward. Drop your head, bend your knees if you have sensation in the lower back. So there is no need to feel anything into the lower back. Bend your knees, start to lengthen your spine. Your belly comes onto your thighs. Start to follow with your neck. So slowly you're gonna look forward. We're gonna come a little bit deeper than usual into our chair. And then press into your legs and inhale. Come all the way up and exhale. So we'll do a bit more of a flow for the next poses. So go at your own pace. If you miss a pose, don't worry about it. It's better to really arrive in one instead of doing it half and moving to the other. So we'll do a warriors. So warrior 1, and then we'll see. I never know which sequence I'm going to end up doing. I'm just going to move a little bit with my mat. So coming to the front of the mat, coming into mountain pose, really finding that strength into your body. So it's not a static thing. It's not that we stiffen up. We really want to find solidity, like being solid in our stand. So your feet are rooted, your legs are active, your core is supporting you, your chest is lifting, shoulders are back, shoulder blades are down, so they're not compressed towards each other. The neck is long, the chin is slightly tilted forward. Let's inhale, reach the arm up, and feel how your feet are getting rooted a little bit more. Reach your arms up, so create that length into your waist. And then exhale, bring the hands onto the hips. Take a step back with your right foot for warrior 1. So the left foot can walk out a little bit more, your hips more or less parallel with the front of the mat. If you need a little bit more movement here, lift your back heel, move your hips, and then press it back down. So it's going to be important to press that back heel down. And then keep your hands onto your hips for now and start to bend your front knee. Front knee should not pass your front heel, so if needed, walk your left foot forward. Press your back heel down. Watch out that you don't curve your spine too much, so maybe tilt the tailbone. That's absolutely not valid for everybody, so just explore for you. Do I need to tilt a little bit more? Does that feel better or not? Bend a little bit more, strong back leg. That's really like so strong and anchored. Imagine that it's really anchored and you can't get it out. And then reach your arms up for your warrior 1. So your arms can be up. You can interlace your hands. Make sure your shoulders remain open. So sometimes when we interlace the hands, we close off the chest. So we don't want that. If this is not accessible, you can come into cactus arms, or you can always keep your hands onto your hips. Whatever works for you. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, and then with your next exhale, bring the arms down, interlace them in the back, roll the shoulders back. So as you do this, keep your elbows bent, bring the shoulder blades together, and then lengthen the arm. Strong back leg, so press that foot down. And with a long spine, start to go forward to the inside of your left leg. Lengthen your arms, opening the chest. Strong legs. We're not in balance on our front foot. Inhale, exhale. And now release your hands, bring your hands down, lift your back heel, and just hop your back foot a little bit more forward. Walk your hands a little bit more forward. Your left knee is bent, and lift your right leg up. Fold forward. So it's a forward fold. Your leg that's lifted is very active. Have a look at your toes. Are they pointing out? And your hip will probably be open. So point your toes slightly in. If you're balanced, you can grab your left ankle with one hand, two hands. You can always keep a micro bend into your left leg. And then take a big step back for your warrior two. So your toes are going to point to the long side of your mat. I like to keep my hands down until I'm stable in my leg. And then I windmill with my right arm, and I come up into my warrior two. So again, outside of the back foot, presses down, front knee points towards the middle toes. If the knee falls in, grab your thigh, roll it out. And we're gonna explore a little bit here. So exhale, go a little bit deeper. Press up, come a little bit higher. So not a total stretch. Just see as you exhale, are you just falling? Are you very flexible and are you just falling? Or do you really have to press down? So we actually should be a little bit of both. So find a little bit between, like, can I let go if I'm very stiff? Can I let go a little bit more? If I'm very flexible, can I hold back a little bit? So it's finding that in between. Make sure your shoulders are rolled back, gaze at your front hand. So your left hand, turn the front palm up, and then inhale for warrior four. No change in the legs here, strong back leg, glide your right hand back, look at your left hand if that's accessible, otherwise you just look forward or to the side, and then opening that left side of your body. Inhale, exhale. And then coming back into your warrior two. Inhale, lengthen your front leg this time. Place your left hand into your left hip crease. So it's not on the hip bone, it's just lower where you have that bend between the upper body and the legs. Keep your right hand out and then start to press your left hip away from your left toes. So you're gonna lean to one side, but you're not collapsing, you're keeping that upper body straight. The limit will probably be your inner thigh. And then you can place your left hand onto your left thigh, lengthen the body, reach your right arm up. As you do this, make sure you're rotating again around the spine. So you want to bring the chest, the right side of your front body a little bit more towards the back. Lengthen in the upper body. And then when you want to go to the full pose, you let go of your hand from your front thigh. You continue to open up. So also the hip, the right hip goes back, the left bum comes forward. It's very complicated pose. If you do this against the wall, you have a little bit more feedback from the wall. So maybe we'll do that next time. And very slowly coming back up, coming back into your warrior two. Gonna do one more on this side. So turn, lift your back, heel, come a little bit closer. I need to get away from the wall. So we're going into our warrior tree. So I'll just show you, warrior tree is anywhere from here, which is a full expression of the pose, to here. So as long as your body is in one line from your fingertips to your back heel, it's a warrior tree. Micro bend the front knee to just activate those muscles to have a bit more stability, but eventually you're gonna have a straight leg. So let's move Bring the hands to the hips. Lift your back leg. So again, this back leg is very active. It's a balancing pose. So start to tilt, and maybe you just want to focus on this. If this is enough for you, you're going to keep your hands onto your hips. But again, you could be here. You can have your hands onto a wall, onto a chair. You can go into airplane. You can bring your arms to the front. And then very slowly bring the right leg next to the left and shake it up. So you can really do a little dance here. So we're gonna go to the other side. So I'm sure you're feeling something in your left side now. So let's balance our body. Coming to the front of the mat, finding again your beautiful mountain pose. Placing the hands onto the hips and bring the left leg back for your warrior one. Start to bend your front knee. Hips towards the front. Back heel presses down. Play a little bit with your hips to find a neutral position, a position that's comfortable, and then when you're ready, you can lift your arms up. So don't be surprised that one side can be very different than the other. It's totally normal. We're aiming eventually for almost symmetry, but sometimes we're just not built like that. Our bones are not like that. So we can only do so much. And then interlace your hands. Roll the shoulders back, open up, press into your back leg, strong front foot, and come on the inside of your right leg, long arms. Release your hands, lift the back heel, place your hands down, a little hop with your left leg, and then lift up. So again, have a quick look at your toes, maybe pointing a little bit more to the center or even inside, and then fold forward. So it's a forward fold. So your spine is rounded, your head is heavy. You can grab your ankle, one hand, two hands, no hands, all good. And then big step back for your warrior two. So find your position with your legs, and then windmill your arms up into your warrior two. Inhale, exhale. Turn the front palm up and come into your warrior four for 3 breaths. So feeling that opening onto your right side. Strong legs, nothing changes there. And slowly start to lengthen the front leg. Lengthen the arms. Right hand into the right hip crease. Press your hips back. Already make sure your upper body is long, straight. You can place your hands flat on your thigh. Reach your left hand up. And then eventually your right arm down. And then start to really open. So from the left hip, rolls back. The waist rolls back. The chest rolls back. And your right bum rolls a bit forward. And then slowly coming back. Bend your front knee. Lift your back heel. Maybe bring it a little bit closer. And we're gonna move into our warrior three. So lifting the arms or keeping the hands on the hips. Come and bring the weight onto your right leg. Lift the back leg up. Micro bend will activate the muscles in your legs so that you have a bit more stability. But eventually we wanna Lengthen that leg. Long upper body, so wherever you are, whichever inclination you have, you want to find length from your heel till the crown of the head. If you want to support, you can use a wall, you can use a chair, you can use a partner. And slowly bring the left leg next to the right and release. Inhale, exhale, and just shake it out. Maybe you want to make little circles with your hips. I don't know what you're feeling in your body, so you're really gonna have to find what works for you. Maybe you want to do some rolls here. And let's come back to the front of the mat. So coming into your Tadasana again. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, reach up. So reach up starts into the heels where you're pressing down, you're lengthening up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, hands onto the floor, right leg back, left leg back, coming to your plank. We're just going to do one round here. Knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. So if you go into chaturanga, eye of the elbow to the front, half push up, and then roll over your toes and open your chest. And then downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up. So we work quite a lot in the hips. We're going to bring some release through the pigeon. So lift your right leg up, bend your right knee, and bring the right knee behind your right wrist or even gently out. Depends on how your hip is constructed. And then your right foot 90 degrees with your leg. Walk your back leg back. Walk your hands a little bit more back. So before we go down, we're going to stretch the quads. So bend your left knee. Grab your left foot with your right hand, or your left hand, or both hands eventually, and feel that stretch into the quads. If this is not accessible, you can grab your pants, or you can just keep your leg up. Make sure you're not falling over one side or the other. Here, we're quite high onto the hips for the moment. And then release. Lengthen the leg back. So the longer the leg is in the back, the lower you are on the floor. And then very slowly walk your hands forward, or you make a pillow with your forearms and you place your forehead. If you're falling over onto the right side, put some blanket underneath or a pillow, something soft. Not something hard, because we want to open the hips by releasing. If you're okay with bring the arms to the front, so meaning that the neck is not going to bend the 90 degree to reach the forehead down, go ahead. And then we have nothing to do. We're going to stay here for 8 breaths. Just releasing, letting go, let gravity play. If your knees are hurting, sorry, I should have said that in the beginning, you're going to go onto your back and you're going to do number 4. So basically the same thing, but onto your back, where you decide how much you want to bring the knee in. So you don't have the weight of the body opening the hip and opening the knee here. And after your 8 breaths, you're going to bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Lift yourself up, tuck your back toe, and come into downward facing dog. And then lift your left leg up, and bend the left knee and bring it behind your left wrist or even a little bit out. And then again, lengthening that back leg to start. Walk your hands a little bit closer to you. Bend your right knee, grab your right foot. Feel that nice little stretch into the quads. And then release. And again, find that length, find a little bit of depth. And coming forward. So if you would do this every day, your hips would be really, really happy. It's very good for the hips, very good for also sciatica. It's one of the best poses if you have problems with the sciatic nerve. Every hip opener is actually really good. So if you can bring your forehead down, go for it, but don't bend too much into the neck. Then your breath gets obstructed and you can't release. Two more breaths here. And slowly, again, coming into your downward dog, just to rebalance everything, lengthen the spine, press into your hands. Last one for this practice. So if you want to linger a little bit here, go ahead. Otherwise, bring the knees down. And we're going to turn around and come onto our back. So make your way very slowly onto your back, keeping the knees bent. And bring the heels close to your bum. So maybe you can tickle your heels, maybe not. Don't bring your heels close by, but separate your feet. So you really want to have your feet and your knees and your hips in line. And then if you have a block or a pillow, I would suggest you take it. If you don't, you're just gonna use your muscles. So a blanket will do quite high actually. So if you have a block or even books, you can place it under your sacrum. So you can choose, if you have a block, you can choose which height you're gonna go. Just make sure it's under the sacrum and not under the lower back. So from here, we're gonna lift the right leg up. And then bring it down. Lift the left leg up. And just to have that sensation on the lower back. And then hold with your hands. You can hold the block or you can place your palms down. And we're gonna lift both legs. So your legs should be straight, not stiff, but straight. Your toes pointing towards your face. So if your hamstrings are tight, it's possible your legs are much lower. That's okay. You are where you are today. And then bend both knees, bring the feet down. So I'm just going to show one. If you have a block, you're going to lift your hips up. You're going to turn the block possibly to the biggest height. But again, not under the lower back, but under the sacrum. And this is a supported bridge. So you're going to roll your shoulders under, lengthen your arms, maybe interlace your hands. Your chest is very open. And you can relax your bum here. So it's really stretching the muscles in your spine along your spine. If you don't have a block here, you're gonna have to work a little bit harder. So you're gonna still lift your hips up, interlace your hands, roll your shoulders under, and then press into your feet, press into your shoulders to lift up. And relax your bum, because that's what we often do. We're gonna press with the bum up. So we want to relax the bum, push the knees forward, find that length, into the front of our body and also the spine. 3 more breaths here. So whichever version you're doing of supported bridge or half bridge, this is half bridge, the other one is supported bridge. And then release your hands and slowly come down. Give yourself a breath of 2 to relax, open your arms, bring your knees into your chest and gently rock your legs from side to side. So just to loosen up in the lower back. If this is too much effort or too much or not appropriate for now, you can place your feet as wide as your mat, keep the knees bent, and then just gently windshield wipe your legs from side to side. So it's all good. We just want to release a little bit. We want to bring some rotation in the spine. And then whichever way you want to have your legs, we're going to stay onto one side. See if we can keep the other shoulder on the floor. Place your, if my knees are to the left, I'm going to place my left hand onto my right thigh, or vice versa. If you're to the other side, you can look away from your knees. And then slowly coming back to center. Stay here, and as you exhale, go to the other side. And maybe gently press with your hand onto your upper thigh. Finding opening. Releasing through the breath. And then slowly coming back to center. Lengthening out the legs as wide as your mat. The arms are about 45 degrees. So we're going to adjust the shoulders here. So press your head into the floor. Roll the shoulders under, shoulder blades down. And then come back onto your back. So you might be a little bit too high, so wiggle yourself out a little bit. You want to make sure that your chin is not too much pointing towards the ceiling. If that's the case, lift your head, tuck your chin, and then bring it down, and then again, wiggle a little bit so that it's comfortable. If you don't get there, place something underneath your head. Or with your hands, you can push the skin of your skull away, but make sure your shoulders are still relaxed. And then your feet are dropping out, toes are pointing out. Feel where the floor and the body are touching. Observe at one spot in your body where this is happening, where you really feel the touch. Are you pressing down to release in maybe an unnatural way? Or do you feel the earth pressing up and supporting you? And if that's the case, can you let go? Can you just release and trust your body to the earth? And as you release your back body, make sure you also release the front of your body. Relaxing the belly and the chest, especially the shoulders, let them drop down. Relaxing your whole face. Stay if you want to stay. Otherwise, but start to observe your breath. And very slowly and consciously start to lengthen the inhale and lengthen the exhale. And then moving toes, fingers, and nose. Maybe the wrists, maybe the ankles, maybe the head from side to side. Like really, what do you feel like doing now? Bring the legs together, and if you feel like stretching, take a breath in, stretch your arms up and overhead. Maybe wiggle a little bit, or lengthen one side, the other side, maybe yawning, whatever comes up. And then exhale, bring the knees into the chest. And then roll over to one side. And coming into a comfortable seated position. Closing your eyes if that's comfortable. Placing your hands in front of your heart or one palm on top of each other on top of your heart. Gently tuck your chin. Namaste.